now, we want to bring in Ed Davis, former Boston Police Commissioner and our security analyst, who joins us now on the phone.
Ed, what can you tell us about your first thoughts upon hearing what has happened here and what is still developing outside of this home?
Well, David, the first thing I think about is the human side of this, the families of the officer involved, the various medical people right now that are tending to the officer's wounds and trying to get him out of trouble. And the other thing is that, an upper body wound is usually very serious. So we're hoping that they can stabilize things and get the officer back on his feet. But, the other thing that occurred to me was that if this can happen in Blueberry Lane in Marston Mills, it can happen anywhere. These kind of things, people think about shooting activity in the inner city, but the truth of the matter is the officers are at risk no matter where they go or what they're doing, and it's just a very difficult situation.
Yeah, and as we were looking at some of the live pictures just a moment ago from that neighborhood, that street there, Blueberry Lane, we see the police presence there. We understand that the suspect is still inside. If you can, generally speaking, give us a sense what's happening right now there.
Well, they set up a perimeter, and they have taken cover. And I'll tell you, a lot of this depends on what kind of weapon you're going up against. If the officer was shot with what they think is a sidearm, then the perimeter can be, relatively close to the building. But if there was a rifle involved in the assault, the perimeter has to be a lot farther away, and it's a very, very dangerous situation. They're also looking at evacuating adjoining residences. So the people in the adjoining houses will be told to shelter in place until the officers can safely bring in a tactical unit with ballistic shields and move the people out of the adjoining residences so they don't get hurt.
Ed, we'll ask you to stay on the phone for a moment here. We'll have some more questions for you. It is worth pointing out when we showed that Google Maps overhead shot of the home and the neighborhood, you can see just how tight the homes are to one another. As we showed you the pictures from Sky Eye, you could see that there is a tremendous police activity there, and we are shying away from showing you anything too close with our Sky Eye pictures, because the last thing we need is this individual in a home watching on live TV what's happening outside of his home. So that is why we are shying away from showing you anything live right now. But Ed, you said something about the dangers of serving a warrant. I think when you hear serving a warrant, it doesn't sound like much, but I've read from other police officers who say it's kind of like it's an away game. The suspect is at their home, they feel comfortable, you don't know the area, it can be very, very dangerous.
There's no question. And when you think about it, a warrant is an indication that the court has looked at the circumstances here and has ordered the officer to apprehend the suspect. So police officers in Massachusetts usually have a lot of discretion in what they do, not so with a warrant. It's an order of the court. It has to be carried out under threat of violation of the officer. So these are very important court documents. And a lot of times the warrants get issued because someone fails to show up in court and is ignoring the court process. So they're fundamental to the proper operation of the court and justice in the United States. And these officers are sent into places where the suspect knows where the officer's coming from. The officer's very easily targeted. They can feel like a sitting duck when they're out in front of these things.
Yeah, you can imagine just how vulnerable, even with the protections that officers have, how vulnerable they would feel in some of these situations. Ed, stay with us. We're just going to reset here for a second. If you're just joining us, a police officer, a Yarmouth police officer, was shot this afternoon serving a search warrant on Blueberry Lane in Marston's Mills. These are pictures of the officer's arrival at Cape Cod Hospital, and there is a tremendous police presence in the neighborhood because the suspect is still, police believe, holed up in that home. There is a SWAT unit there. Ed Davis, our security expert, has been talking with us about the next steps for those team members out there. Ed, there's a standoff, and then there's a standoff in which an officer has been shot. And I have to think that the level of emotion and anger is very, very high right now. What kind of backup do they call in for these officers, and would they consider calling in officers from other departments to help handle this?
That's a very interesting question, Lisa. You know, the Cape is a unique place. It's separated geographically from the rest of the Commonwealth. And I've done a lot of work in Barnstable County with the former police chief, John Finnegan there. And there's a unique relationship among the police agencies on Cape Cod. They all back each other up. They all know each other. It's a very small community of police. So I can assure you that everybody on Cape Cod is rolling towards this thing, along with the state police who have a big presence out there. So it's hard to keep your emotions in check, especially if you know the officer that's been injured. But that's what's required in a situation like this. And the officers know that. They have to be able to control themselves and make this safe for the community, which is their charge right now. It's a joint effort. It's a joint operation. Mutual aid is involved here, I'm certain, and they're trying to bring this to a peaceful conclusion.
And Ed, as we think about this officer who's been shot, as we pray for him, I presume when you are serving a warrant, I would be guessing that you would be wearing some type of armor, some type of body armor, obviously. Bulletproof vest would come to mind. But I'm guessing that just the way these things normally go down, you're at close range, which makes you very, very vulnerable. And our Cheryl Fiandaca is saying that the injuries were very serious and were to the upper body. A bulletproof vest can only do so much.
Right. First of all, a rifle round will cut right through a bulletproof vest. So that's one thing that you have to be concerned about. The other thing is that a vest doesn't cover everything. So if an officer is standing there, they're vulnerable from the neck and the shoulders down. There have been cases where a bullet has gone in and hit the collarbone and gone into the chest. There are other cases where an officer is standing sideways where there are no panels to protect you. So a bulletproof vest is really important. Most officers wear them now, but even if you have one on, it's still possible to get badly injured. And hopefully this officer is not badly injured, that he's going to be all right.